diverse group joining. So some of you are here for your first official Red Cross training, and some of you are here to find out if joining the Red Cross family might be a good fit for you. So this first part of the presentation will be about the Red Cross volunteer opportunities within the Missouri and Arkansas region. And this is where we'll give you an overview of our program so you can see where your skills, your passions, and your life experiences can fit in best within the Red Cross. So the second part of this presentation will be more information about the Red Cross's mission and introducing you to some of our most frequently used Red Cross systems. So if you have not started the online volunteer application just yet, the second part of the meeting is optional. We will be sure to announce when we'll begin part 2. For now, before we get started, we're going to just go over a few housekeeping things. We are going to mute everyone's phones, but we will allow you to come off mute to ask questions at the end. We do recommend having a piece of paper and pen handy to take any notes. And we are going to be recording this. So I see that that's already started. So now we're going to head out on the road. So here we are on the Red Cross road to volunteering. And you can see that we are currently at step 2, attend the virtual volunteer fair. And the recruitment team would like to welcome you all to part 1 of today's presentation, the virtual volunteer fair. And the purpose of the next 20 minutes is to provide you with our immediate volunteer opportunities. And we're going to show you just how easy and little time it takes to have an enormous impact on your local community. So let's take a look at those of us who are here on the line presenting. So my name is Kristen Pendleton. I'm a senior volunteer recruiter covering the greater St. Louis area. And also on the line joining us today out of Arkansas is Pam Kaplan, also a senior volunteer recruiter. And then on the tech board is Eli Aguirre, also out of Arkansas. And we all are part of the Missouri and Arkansas region of the American Red Cross. And our region encompasses the states of both Missouri and Arkansas, plus some counties in Kansas that are next to Kansas City, and counties in Illinois, just outside of St. Louis and Cape Girardeau. So we do recognize that some of you on the call today may be from outside the Missouri and Arkansas region, and that's awesome. Glad you're here. So after the presentation, we're going to be providing you with a way to find out more about volunteer opportunities in your area in a follow-up email. And although some of what you're going to be hearing today may be specific to our region, most of what you're going to be hearing about is available in your area as well. So now I want to make sure those of you who have already chosen or plan to choose to be a new disaster volunteer, that this is not a replacement for your upcoming disaster fundamental overview that you may have scheduled or will have scheduled soon. So for now, I'm going to pass it over to Pam.
All right. Thanks, Kristen. Happy Thursday, everybody. We're going to start out with the most important part of our program, and that's our volunteers. The one thing many people don't realize is the fact that over 90% of our workforce are volunteers. We're here at the American Red Cross. We consider our volunteers superheroes, and we show that during the year through formal and informal recognition. So let's take a look at the next slide, and we'll discuss some of those benefits of volunteering. We're here to help you find the volunteer role that appeals to you and allows you to use your skills and your talents. And you may be thinking, well, if I become a Red Cross volunteer, how will it benefit me? And if we wanted to discuss all the benefits of volunteering, would be here all day. So we decided just to share a few here. So you can see there on the slide. First of all, gaining valuable experiences, exploring your interest, becoming self-confident, become healthier, meet new friends, strengthen your communities, learn new skills, Do more good. Don't we all want to do that? Become happier and make the world a better place. So thank you again for being here. Now we are going to watch a brief video where you'll see that even in COVID-19, the Red Cross is still very active in carrying out its mission over the last year.
Thanks, Eli. So, regardless of COVID-19, we, the American Red Cross, are still delivering our life-saving mission, as you can see in that video. So we still need you. And an important part of the Red Cross is to collect and distribute approximately 40% of the blood supply in the United States. So not only are our donors important to us being able to continue this, but our volunteers within Biomed are also a crucial piece to this. So it's thanks to our donor ambassador volunteers that our blood drives run smoother, collect more blood, and thereby save more lives. So if you like to be around some incredible people, our blood donors, volunteering in a safe environment, this may be a perfect opportunity for you. It's a simple role, but vitally important to keeping those blood drives and our facilities safe. So it's available in different parts of the Missouri, of the state of Missouri, and within northern Arkansas. So we're going to hear from a volunteer, Joe Peerless, about why he likes being a donor ambassador.
Hi, my name is Joe Peerless. I began volunteering for the American Red Cross when a friend asked me what I was doing to give back to the community. When I asked him what he suggested, he recommended the American Red Cross, and that was 35 years ago. A blood donor ambassador is the first person to welcome a donor to the collection facility and the last person to thank them after donating the gift of life. I keep coming back as a blood donor ambassador because I can only give blood 4 to 5 times a year. And being a blood donor ambassador allows me to continue to help in the blood collection process throughout the rest of the year. As you know, 1 unit of blood can save up to 3 lives. If you are thinking about becoming a blood donor ambassador, let me leave you with these few words. Try it. You'll like it. Please join me in becoming a blood donor ambassador. Thank you.
And a thank you to Joe. So you're going to see on the screen also another role that's important within our biomed area, and we call that transportation specialist. And it's available in Missouri within the cities and towns of Kansas City, Columbia, St. Louis, and Cape Girardeau. So what our volunteers love about this role is the fact that they are literally transporting that life-saving blood for patients in need. So you're able to deliver that gift of life using our Red Cross vehicles to deliver those blood products to local hospitals and our distribution points. Another great opportunity for people to do in pairs. We have husband and wife teams, we have father and son, best friends, maybe you'd rather be alone. We have plenty of people doing that as well. So lastly, available only in the St. Louis area is a role for people who like sorting and packing supplies. So you'll be making sure the blood drives have some of the necessary supplies they need to be successful. So you do need to have availability for this particular role during Monday through Friday, anytime during the hours between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for 2-hour blocks at a time. So we're going to move over to another line of service a lot of people aren't aware of that the Red Cross is involved in, and that is our service to armed forces.
Hi.
Oh, we're good. All right. So the American Red Cross is congressionally chartered to help members of the military, veterans, and their families prepare for, cope with, and respond to the challenges of military service. And although the slide shows we have one opportunity listed, we don't. That opportunity is actually closed and the slide did not get updated. So we are human and we forgot. So we're going to move into the next slide. I'm going to move, actually, we're going to hand it over to Pam to talk about another line of service that the Red Cross is very involved in. There you go, Pam.
All right, thanks, Kristen. So the another line of service where the Red Cross is congressionally chartered is the disaster cycle services, and we're congressionally chartered to provide disaster relief. We operate in a prepare, respond, and recover cycle. So as you can see up there in the upper right-hand corner there, we prepare communities for disaster, we respond when the disaster strikes, and then we help communities recover after a disaster. So the first piece of that is prepare. Community education preparedness presenters. These are virtual opportunities. Preparedness programs are national. They're standardized. They're free for community members. They're designed to help people understand, prepare for, and respond appropriately to emergencies. For example, like a home fire or a tornado. Through engaging and age-appropriate curriculum. So this is a great opportunity if you like to teach or do presentations. We have youth programs that are tailored towards kindergarten through second grade, and that's our Pedro program. And then our third through fifth grade program is referred to as the Pillowcase program. And then we also have adult programs, Be Red Cross Ready, that would also provide this type of information for an adult audience. So if we move down to respond, the most common disaster we respond to is home fires. When the Red Cross responds to a home fire, we're there to take care of people affected by the home fire or other local disasters. So the very first opportunity there under respond is our disaster action team or DAT member. When we respond, it's our volunteer DAT member who responds by phone to help those families affected. Our DAT volunteers' role is to provide comfort, resources, and hope. And then we also have the duty officer role. Our duty officer volunteers are the first to be notified of a home fire. The role is to verify and then verify the fire and then notify the DAT responders, who will then follow up with the families affected. And then after, we know that 30 days are the most important to a family recovering after disaster. So in recovery, after that initial response is completed by the DAT team, our recovery team follows up with the family affected by phone to help in their recovery process. Also listed on the slide is recovery event reviewer. Ideally, we would have 2 DAT volunteers who responds to the same fire for verification purposes. If we only have 1 DAT volunteer available, then this role confirms and documents that the disaster, most of the time again a home fire, occurred. So all of these roles require you have a phone and computer with internet. And that finishes the discussion on the various volunteer roles. So before we close out part 1, we would like to share a short video on how important COVID-19 protocols are in the delivery of the Red Cross mission.
Hi, I'm Brad Kaiserman, Vice President of Disaster Operations and Logistics for the American Red Cross. And I wanted to share one request with you today, and it's this. Please do not take off your mask yet. Over 500,000 Americans have died from COVID-19 in the past year, and nearly 2,000 Americans continue to die of the disease every day. So please, continue to protect yourself so that we can protect the mission and continue to serve the vulnerable populations all over the United States that we've been able to help throughout this pandemic. So please remember, CDC, cover, distance, and clean. It is not time to drop our guard yet, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you all. I'll see you soon.
Okay, so now we will close out part 1 with a look at who your volunteer recruiter is and your next steps. So this slide has the volunteer recruiter for your area and all their contact information. So you might want to take a few minutes to maybe to take a picture of that slide with your phone, jot down the recruiter's info, or you'll also receive this slide in an email, a follow-up email as well. So if we can move to the next slide. Here we are back at the road to volunteering. Again, some of you may be at different steps in the process. For those of you on the call who have started your online application, this is the first step to complete your, for those of you on the call who have not started your online application, sorry about that. The first step is to go and complete that online application at redcross.org/volunteer. Also, you will be receiving an email from the recruitment team with that link to register. Now, we have a favor to ask of everyone here. Now that you have heard this, please don't keep it a secret. Take it back to your friends, your colleagues, your family. Share this with the community. For those of you who have started your online registration and this is your first training, the engagement team will be beginning part 2 of today's presentation shortly, and we affectionately call the new volunteer orientation. And so after a short break, for now, the recruitment team is going to be here for a few more minutes for additional questions. If you do have questions, there are a few different options. You can unmute your phone. You can always type your question in the chat box, or if you'd rather, you can also reach out separately to the recruiter in your area. And so an important note, we all love to help people who are looking for help in deciding which volunteer opportunity is a good fit for them. So feel free to ask any of those burning questions you may have. So any questions?
Hi, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
I had previously volunteered in Salem, Illinois. It was under the Illinois chapter, but got merged into St. Louis. As weird as that is, it's like they were shutting down the one office that I had started from, and my volunteer stuff had like fell through the cracks. And so I was kind of surprised that they weren't able to find me in the system for my previous volunteer. I didn't know how that would happen, or
You're
what.
here.
Yeah, very true.
You're here in the system.
Oh, I am.
It looks like we have found you. And it looks like you are part of our region and you've got prospective volunteer.
Okay.
So,
Because I was trying to find all my stuff and my logins to my other stuff, and I couldn't find it. And I know I previously spoke to someone briefly on the phone, and they're like, yeah, we're not seeing it. They're like, but hey, no worries, but welcome back. I'm like, well, thanks, but that's wasn't the thing. But yeah.
How long ago was that?
2016, 17.
well, I see you here that you did a background check, unless there's somebody with exactly your spelling of your name.
So it looks like she may
have.
have filled out a new application rather than reactivating the old one. Is that what
That's exactly
we're
what I
thinking?
did.
That's what you're seeing then, Kristen?
Yeah.
She may still exist in the other region. So then the question is, which region would we request the transfer of her file from?
I didn't find her with your name.
Oh, you
Anyway, we can
did that. Sorry,
Okay.
Kristen.
No, you're fine. That was where my question was coming, since everyone was here, it's like, hey, since all these different chapters are here.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Mhm.
It looks like we got to do a little research to find your old information.
Yeah, because I had quite a bit of stuff that hopefully might be good training wise.
Good. Well, glad you're here now.
You'll see a few things have changed. Many things are the same and a few things have changed. So
Well, hopefully only for the better.
Any other questions for the recruiters? All right, hearing none, we're going to pass the baton over to our wonderful engagement team, who will take you into part 2 of the presentation.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Pam. Thank you so much, Kristen. All right. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of continue on. Thank you so much for staying on the part 2 session. And if you have any questions, just let us know. All right, Eli, I think we can just get started. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Eli. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of our new volunteer orientation. And today's session is to cover what you need to know to succeed as a new volunteer. So who should attend this session? Anyone who knows that they're interested in volunteering with the Red Cross, because this session is required for all of our new volunteers. So whether or not you've completed your application, you may certainly attend this meeting, and you'll just need to complete your application afterwards. So our volunteer services department is here to help you get started. That is so important to us. We want you to get started on the right foot. And so we are like the human resource department for our volunteers. And my name is Yvonne Berry, and I am one of the presenters for this part of the orientation. And the rest of the team's pictures are on the screen. So however, today you'll just be hearing from me and Catherine Swenson. So you'll be hearing from us today. Our objectives. Our objectives for part 2 are to learn a little more about the Red Cross mission and the culture, and introduce some of our most frequently used Red Cross systems. You will discover that we have several systems, and hopefully get to know each other a little bit. So we strive really to make sure all of our volunteers feel prepared and ready to do their role. And we want to make sure that you understand how our process works from the beginning to the end. That's so important to us. So we like to for you to enter your name and where you're from in the chat box. If you aren't sure how, or if you joined a little late, the little speech bubble that is circled above is where you would find the chat. And so further to the right of that chat icon, you can find your camera and your microphone. So if either one has a slash through it, that means that it's off. And if it doesn't have a slash through it, it means that it's on. But if you're able to write in the chat, just hang out for a few minutes at the end, and we'll get your information then to make sure you get credit. It's so important that you get credit for this session. We want to make sure that that happens. So make sure you put your name in the chat box. So due to the pandemic, we are all spending more time in these types of online meetings. So let's just go over some etiquette. To reduce background noise, please mute your mic so that the TV and maybe in the other room doesn't come in on the call. Chat messages are always public, so we want to keep that in mind. And if we hear background noise, we may go in and mute all of the participants. However, we cannot unmute people because of privacy laws. So if you want to talk, just make sure you unmute yourself. So at this time, I'm going to turn this over to Kat Swenson. I gave her a new name. In the very beginning, I think I called her Kat Swenson, but Kat Swenson. So we're going to turn this portion over to Kat. Thanks, Kat.
You did like my mom and you called me Catherine, and so I thought I was in trouble. So let's spend a moment on our mission and vision. And our mission is nothing less than preventing and alleviate suffering by mobilizing the power of you, our volunteers. Think about it. It's not every nonprofit that has a mission to prevent and alleviate suffering. So when we say we can't fulfill our mission without you, it's embedded in the very core of our organization, not just that we're preventing and alleviating suffering, but through our volunteers. You are making it happen, not us, not the staff. And at the bottom of the slide, you'll see there's 3 symbols, and those are used by the International Red Cross, Red Crescent, and Red Crystal societies. There are 189 of these worldwide. And these images, if you think about it, they are a beacon of safety and hope to those who are in need around the world. It's a relief to people to see those symbols. It's really a powerful thing. It's not just our logo. And it's you, our volunteers, that are bringing that help and hope. So let's talk about, where are you? So on this map, we're just going to be talking today about the American Red Cross. You are part of the American Red Cross, and we're divided into 6 divisions, and our national headquarters is located in Washington, D.C. You are also part of the Southwest and Rocky Mountain Division. So that's called SWARM, one of those 6 divisions, and it's orange in that map on the left. So we're part of a very large division and a very disaster-prone one, if I must say so. SWARM is divided into 9 regions, and you are now a part of the Missouri-Arkansas region. And of course, there's acronyms for everything here. So MOAR region or MORE region, you'll hear it both ways, of the Red Cross. So finally, within the Missouri-Arkansas region, there in the map on the right, you can see that we're divided into 8 chapters. And this is usually your home base. But because of COVID-19, our chapter offices are closed. One day our offices will reopen. You can connect in person with the other staff and volunteers on our team, because that's part of the reason I know that we all like volunteering. So a bit earlier, you heard descriptions of some of our lines of business. You heard a bit about disaster, biomedical, and service to armed forces. So those are our most client-facing, outward-facing departments. There are other lines of business, however, that are supportive of the Red Cross mission, but tend to be a little more behind the scenes type of volunteer roles. And so just want to put those in front of you. And those departments that you could also help out in are our communications department. They gather information and tell the story of the Red Cross. Financial development or fundraising, because we are a nonprofit. Operations department, they keep our buildings, vehicles, equipment all running smoothly. And not last but not least, volunteer services, your HR department for the volunteers. And we help our departments by recruiting, engaging, and retaining our volunteers and doing things like this new volunteer orientation. And you can help us out also. We have a lot of volunteers that we're grateful for that help our department. So that's a lot of departments, but we are all one Red Cross working together to make it possible to carry out our mission. So check that out. When we say we can't do it without you without you, the volunteers, you can see how outnumbered we are. There are 14 volunteers for every 1 employee. This is also why the Red Cross has so many volunteer opportunities available for leadership roles, as well as kind of frontline, easier roles. If you're interested in a leadership role, don't wait to be asked. They don't tend to be posted externally as much, and so it's something that you'll become more aware of once you're in your department. But you can just raise your hand, tell your supervisor. You can also apply directly for any open position available here in our region by going into our volunteer connection system, clicking on opportunities and looking for that job. And we'll show you how to do some of that later. So I want to highlight a few things that help our volunteers to be successful here at the Red Cross. So on a most basic level, excuse me, you need to have access to your own computer, or you couldn't join us here today, a reliable internet connection and a smartphone. Especially in this virtual environment, we would not be able to do business if it weren't for those tools. Also, humanitarian volunteers need to be engaged and responsive, proactive, and actively communicate, especially with their volunteer supervisors. Think about it. Disaster responders are, responsive, right? So it's important from this point of the process forward that you check your email daily. Communication is important. We have high expectations of our volunteers in that regard. And finally, and most important, Red Crossers need to show compassion and empathy for every single person we serve. Volunteers are the reason that we are able to develop our humanitarian mission. I'm going to kick it back over to Yvonne.
All right. Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. So as we as Kat covered information about our mission and vision, I want to just kind of address some information about our culture and our origin. So to understand the Red Cross culture, we really need to understand our origin. So imagine walking into a scene right after a battle and many lying injured, needing help, and yet there was no help. And no one was there to see their wounds. No one was there to get them to safety. But one man saw a scene like this, and his name was Henry Dunant. He was a young Swiss man who came upon this bloody battlefield in Solferino, Italy in 1859. And there were about 40,000 badly injured and dead men who needed care. And it was from this experience in the battlefield that the vision of the Red Cross was born. Each person who volunteers with the Red Cross is crucial, and each one brings light and helps to alleviate those who are suffering as Henry Dunant envisioned. And also would like to just say that we have someone else that was somewhat had a similar experience, and that is our founder, Clara Barton. But Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross in 1881 at age 60. So I just want to just throw that in. So now as we talk about the 7 fundamental principles, the 7 fundamental principles that provide an ethical, operational, and institutional framework, they are at the core. They are at the core of the organization's approach to helping people in need during armed conflict, national disasters, and other emergencies. So important. Humanity. The Red Cross was born out of a desire to bring assistance without discrimination to the wounded on the battlefield, endeavors in its international and national capacity to prevent and alleviate human suffering wherever it's found, and that is a key with the Red Cross. Impartiality. Impartiality makes no discrimination to the nationality, the race, the religious belief, class, or political opinions. That's impartiality. Independence. The Red Cross is independent and must always maintain their autonomy to be able at all times, and so we want to repeat that, to be able at all times to act in accordance with Red Cross principles. Voluntary service. Voluntary service. The Red Cross is a voluntary relief organization not prompted in any manner by desire or gain. That's very important, not by desire or gain. Unity. There can only be one Red Cross society in one country, and it must be open to all. It must carry on its humanitarian work throughout its territory. Universality. The Red Cross is a worldwide institution in which all societies have equal status and share equal responsibilities and duties in helping each other. We have a statement, and this is our statement of the Red Cross commitment to diversity and inclusion. The Red Cross exists to help everyone, everywhere across the United States. We seek to understand and embrace the community that we serve. So that is so important as we look at that statement. We are proud that our Red Cross symbols are symbols of safety and hope, and as Kat had mentioned earlier, for all those in need of humanitarian aid, regardless of their race, religion, politics, socioeconomic status, citizenship status, or whatever. It's a powerful statement about our culture of inclusion that we continue to strive for. The Red Cross is a place where all are welcome, all are helped, where we can come together, united by a common humanity and our commitment to serving others. So what does this mean to you as a humanitarian volunteer for Red Cross? It's important to think about your values and how they intersect with our Red Cross values. To give this statement and our fundamental principles some context and to make these ideas just a little more tangible, let's look at one example. When we had a shelter and a feeding site on a military base near the U.S.-Mexican border after a hurricane, the military's standard practice is to require a U.S. ID. However, from the Red Cross perspective, that could deter or prevent some non-U.S. Citizens from being able to receive assistance. So we have to work with our partners in these kinds of situations to ensure that everyone has access to that assistance. And sometimes that means asking our partners to do things a little differently than they normally would do. So we ask all of our new volunteers, consider yourself. Is this a commitment you can make? Can you help impartially, all in need? If so, you have found your Red Cross home and you have the heart of a Red Cross humanitarian volunteer. And there is this saying, which is a wonderful saying, Red Cross is a light in the darkness. It is the duty of all of us to see that it does not go out, by Albert Schweitzer. So I love that saying. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Kat.
Thanks, Yvonne. You know, the fundamental principles really guide how we do our jobs here at the Red Cross. Next, we're really going to shift gears, talk about something else also very important, but less heady. And it's the importance of tracking your volunteer hours. So if you think about it, your donated time is a valuable contribution to the Red Cross. It's important that you record each and every hour that you volunteer with us. So, like, why does that matter? First, as we've mentioned, the Red Cross is a nonprofit. We rely on donor generosity, and your logged hours help to demonstrate to our donors that we are not wasting their money, that their money is well spent, that we're using their dollars wisely. Because 90% of our work is being done not by us, but by you. The Red Cross needs your logged hours also to do accurate workforce planning for the future. For example, to ensure we have enough disaster responders available. And finally, logging your hours, it's good for you too. Perhaps you would like a permanent record that you can access, anytime, run a report on. I know this is sometimes helpful. I know we have someone from Truman State here, to be able to show, look, I volunteered all these hours with the Red Cross, or to use when you're looking for a job. So to learn a little bit more about this important aspect of volunteering, let's follow the day in the life of a very busy Red Cross volunteer named Jim.
A day in the life of a Red Cross volunteer. Meet Jim. He's a Red Cross volunteer. And we're going to follow him around today and see what it's like to be a Red Cross volunteer. As Jim is getting ready for the day, he realizes he has an unusually busy Red Cross day. He checks his email before heading into the office. Jim heads to the Red Cross office to start his day. When Jim gets to the office, he starts his day as a service to the armed forces caseworker. He works on some cases and then he attends a team training. After a busy morning with the Service to Armed Forces team, Jim heads home for lunch. When Jim gets home, the first thing he does is log his hours. He knows how important logging his hours is because it helps us tell the Red Cross story to our community. And it also helps ensure that we continue to get the financial support needed to deliver our life-saving mission. While Jim is at home logging his hours, he gets a call to respond to a local house fire. When Jim arrives on scene, he provides care and comfort to the family that has been affected. Once Jim is done with his shift as a disaster action team member, he then heads to a meeting at the Red Cross office. After Jim's team meeting at the office, he then heads to the park to enjoy a Red Cross party with all of his friends. Wow, Jim had a really busy day today. He's gonna sleep so well. And as usual, he'll have happy dreams about all the people he helped today and all the fun he had as a Red Cross volunteer. Good night, Jim. What counts as worked volunteer hours? Let's recap. Driving to and from a Red Cross assignment, checking your email, casework, training, team meetings, Red Cross events, and disaster response all count as worked hours. Unfortunately, dreaming about the Red Cross does not. Thank you, and remember to log your hours. Today's training also counts as worked hours.
I love Elise's videos. Elise is another member of our team, but she's not with us today, just in spirit. So now that you know when you should log your hours and why it matters to us, we're going to show you the how to log and where to log them. So to do this, we have to introduce you to Volunteer Connection, and that's our volunteer management database. The good news is you've already used this system if you have filled out your application online. That was in Volunteer Connection. Soon, your homepage will look like the one on this screen. And for most of you, that'll be in the next 24 to 48 hours. So there's a conversion that happens when you go from having filled out the application to, getting switched over to a regular general volunteer. And then your page will look like the one you see in front of you when you sign in. So you can use Volunteer Connection as a hub to access most of the information that you need. You'll enter your hours in here, access online training, and a lot more. So we're going to start by introducing you to the computer-based version, and then we'll show you the phone app.
Hi there. In this video, we are going to explain how to log in to Volunteer Connection and how to log your hours on the computer. First, visit volunteerconnection.redcross.org. You will then be taken to a sign-in page that looks like this. Next, enter your email address and password you used when you submitted an application with us. If you forgot your password, no worries. You will simply click Forgot Password right below the sign-in button. If you are still having technical difficulties, you can contact our helpful and friendly IT help desk for 24/7 support, or you can contact your supervisor. Now that we're logged in, we will show you how to submit your volunteer hours. Once you're logged in, just scroll down and click Add Hours. You'll then be prompted to fill out the required fields: the date, the hours worked, the activity name, such as data entry, the hours type, which is in most cases will be worked, the position, and any comments. Some volunteers have multiple positions, so you'll want to make sure to select the right position for the activity you've completed. Once you're done, you'll click Submit Hours. If you have multiple hours to log, you can click Submit and add another. Logging your hours is that easy. If you have any questions at all, you can contact your supervisor. And remember, if you need help and your supervisor can't assist, contact our friendly and helpful 24/7 IT hotline at 888-778-7762. Thank you.
We should get paid for referring people to the hotline. We mention it so frequently. So these days, so many of us are living on our smartphones. So we also want to show you this super convenient way to access Volunteer Connection.
Hi there. In this video, we are going. Today's question is, can you log your hours anywhere else other than on the computer? And you can. There's an app for that called Volunteer Connection. Once you download the app and put in all your information, there's an easy way to log your hours from your phone. And here's how. Once you're in the app, click the drop-down menu and click Hours Manager. It'll take you to the calendar. Then you'll click a date to submit or edit your volunteer hours. Fill out the fields below and click Submit, and you're done. It's that easy. Remember, if you have any questions, email us here. Thanks and have a great week.
So a couple of notes, depending on where you are in your application and in this process, you may not have access to add your hours in the app yet, but we do want you to please go ahead and download it. Feel free to do so right this minute. Volunteer Connection. It will take about again, 24 to 48 hours after this class before you're able to log in your hours. If you're not able to get in, or if you're having any difficulties, like Elise said, you can contact IT, you can contact any of the volunteer services team that you've met here today. We're going to provide you our contact information on the last slide, and we're going to give you a copy of this entire PowerPoint. So you've got 900,000 different ways to get this information on how to reach us. But I also want to note that the app recently had a facelift, and it looks a tiny bit different than what Elise just showed you, but it's actually easier to use. So we're back at our Volunteer Connection homepage, the one that your page will start to look like this in 24 to 48 hours. And as we said, you can access a lot of other things here. And across the top, I also want to point out there's a tab up there for opportunities. If you remember, I said that any and every job available in the Red Cross is listed and you can directly apply for them. That's where those positions are found. So I just wanted to point that out. But from here, you can also get to another one of our platforms called Edge, and that's circled in red under where the person's photo would go. By the way, please put your photo in your profile. It's kind of like how it was nice to see all your faces before we got started, you know, working remotely. It's the little things. So anyway, Edge, this is where we house all of our online training. And we have a variety of training options here at the Red Cross, and usually they range from in-person classes to online courses. However, because of COVID, everything's being done online pert near. But, you know, someday our in-person classes will come back, I'm assuming. So most of you will use Edge to complete your job-specific training that will be required. And that is typically assigned to you by your supervisor. And if you look at the screenshot of this volunteer's homepage, you'll see that that link to Edge is located under where the photo would go. And if you click on that, it takes you to the landing page for Edge, the training platform. And this is what that looks like. So from here, you can browse for training classes of interest to you. You don't have to only take things that are assigned to you. You can take all of the classes. Or you can look under My Transcripts, and that's where you will find any classes your supervisor has already assigned to you. An Edge training called Using Edge as a Learner has already been assigned to you. And this is an optional training that you can take if you want to learn more than what I'm going to share with you right here about using Edge. So you would go to Transcripts and click on Using Edge as a Learner, and it's about a 30-minute long class, and it's just waiting there for you to launch if you choose, if you need more information on that. So you'll find it's a really easy platform to navigate, but if you want more help, that class is there for you. All right, now you have to wake up because you're going to have to write something in the chat box. You're getting a pop quiz. I'm not saying it's pass fail, but it might be. So get ready to type. When you take classes in Edge, should you enter that time as hours worked in Volunteer Connection when you are done? I'll wait. Okay, you're making me very happy. So this is confusing to volunteers sometimes because just because you can get to Edge from Volunteer Connection, they aren't connected in the sense of when you take a class, it doesn't log the hours for you. You have to go in to your Volunteer Connection homepage and log those hours. So yay. Okay, so far you guys are doing very well. And where I like to show you is where you are on your journey to actually getting to volunteer, because that's usually people's questions like, when can I do some volunteering? Enough information. All right, so we're back on the path, and what you can see is that you're almost done with steps 2 and 3, which is this orientation. This is a visual reminder of what's going to happen next. So if you haven't already, fill out an application. right? This is kind of assuming you filled out an application. After this class, if you haven't already received it, you'll get a volunteer interest survey that gives you a chance to tell us which of these positions that we've been telling you about that you would like to pursue. And when we get that survey back from you, we will refer you to your line of business. They will reach out to you to set up a phone meeting to discuss the position in more detail, make sure it's the best fit for you and for them, and discuss any job training needed, help you get scheduled, and the next steps. If you don't feel, said differently, if you feel you'd like to speak to a human about what you're interested in, that's also an option. Just let us know when we send you the survey. I'd rather just have somebody call me so I can talk to them about what job's right for me. Either way, we can handle that either way. Or if you don't see the specific job you were hoping to help with on the survey, and that's another reason to ask for a screening. For example, if you have a special skill, like I just found out, we are again in need of mental health care professionals. So if there's a mental health care professional on the line, that job isn't listed currently. So things like that. If you have a special skill set, or if you're interested in a leadership role because that's your background, those would be good reasons to ask for a screening. Okay, so you'll get that survey, you'll either fill it out or you'll ask for a screening, and you'll get referred to the line of business. They're going to reach out, chat with you more in more detail. And then kind of like with HR, your direct interaction with volunteer services probably will fall back at that point, but we are always here for you. If you're not sure who to go to, if you feel like you've gotten lost in the process, if you're not sure who to ask a question of, just ask us. We may not know the answer, but we know who to refer you to get the answer from. So, another reason to reach back to us, if your first choice for volunteering turns out not to be the right fit, or if you're wanting to explore other opportunities, you can speak to us at any time about that. So after this class, I think I mentioned that we're going to send you some things. So be on the lookout, checking your email daily. You're going to be on the lookout for that link I'm going to send for the volunteer interest survey for you to complete. You'll get a copy of the slide deck, including all the links to these videos in case you want to enjoy them again. A link to a feedback form so you can tell us how you feel about this session that we've just subjected you to. It's a relatively new orientation, so your feedback is very welcome. When we get your survey, like I said, we'll look at your responses, follow up if we have any questions. Otherwise, we're going to refer you to your line of business. They're going to reach out, set up a phone interview with you. We also send you a copy of the official position description for the role that you selected to remind you of it. All right, did I say it's important to keep an eye on your email? So get ready to write in the chat box another pop quiz. When you spend time reading Red Cross emails, should you log that time as volunteer hours worked in Volunteer Connection? I'll wait. Yay! You're listening. Thank you. You've made me very happy today. Sometimes people complain about the volume of email that we send out here at the Red Cross. All I would tell you is, hey, it counts as volunteer hours work to read it. The thing that if you find the volume of email overwhelming, then what I would also highly, highly, highly recommend is know the name of your supervisor and your key people, and at least read those emails first. Right now, you're looking for emails from volunteer services, but as you move forward, you're really going to be looking for those communications from your supervisor and your line of business. Okay, so starting tomorrow or the next day at the latest, you'll be able to log your hours. And we'll be checking to see that you were successful in doing so. You'll be able to log your hours for this training and any time you've spent getting to this point. So yay, that's your reward. If we don't see logged hours in a few days, someone from our team is going to be reaching out to see if you need help with that. If you're having issues, you can always just call us if you're having issues too, but this is how important this is. We want to get you started on the right foot. So remember, if you're logging them on the computer, the screen on the left is what you should see. And hopefully you've already downloaded the Volunteer Connection app on your smartphone, and you'll be able to see that new screen, that is the screen that you'll see. And look at that little icon that is right front and center. Super easy way to enter your hours. So if you have any questions about this or any other topic, Yvonne and I are going to hang out afterwards, and so we can answer some of those more individual questions. A final reminder, if you haven't been able to put your name and location in the chat box, you have to hang out because we don't know that you're here. I saw that someone called in under anonymous, and there's a phone number I can see, but not a name. If you want to remain anonymous, that's your business. If you want credit for this class, you're going to have to tell us who you are. So finally, we're just really grateful that you have chosen to share your time and talent with the American Red Cross. We encourage you to share what you learned today with friends and family who might be looking for volunteer opportunities in their communities. We know you have choices for where you volunteer, and we're just really happy you selected us. Oh yeah, and that's what I promised. I promised to show you our contact information. And remember, you're getting all of this. If you're scribbling furiously, don't. You're getting a copy of the PowerPoint in your email that you will, of course, be checking. All righty. So that said, I would love it if, Eli, if you want to pull the presentation down, and then anyone who's able and interested, yay, that's what I was hoping for, is let's see who's on the call. It won't show, everyone's picture, but hello, human beings, how are you today? Is there anyone that needs to tell me? And you're welcome to pop off now. This is the end of the presentation, but if you called in or if you didn't get your name in the chat box, please introduce yourself to me. Is there anyone? Okay. All right. Great. Is there any questions that we didn't answer?
Hey, this is James Jordan Lawrence. I'm the one that called in. Sorry to be problematic, but
not at all problematic. It's just a much less exciting experience. Thank you, James.
I know. Sorry, my internet went out. So I was just, thank goodness you guys had a dial-in service.
Yes, and you'll get a copy of the PowerPoint. So if there's something that you needed to reference, or if, like I said, if you want to enjoy the videos with actual visuals. So James, what was your last name again?
Lawrence, Lawrence, and I'm out of Kansas City.
Yep, I remember your name on the RSVP list. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Great, and I saw, and there may be more than one. Hello, Kathy Swaller. Yes, thank you. I gotcha on the list there. And I was gonna say I'm in the Northwest Arkansas chapter. I saw we had at least one person. I think it was in Elizabeth. So hello, shout out. I don't get a lot of folks. So welcome to everybody. Other questions or thoughts? Watch your email. If you want a screening, ask for it instead of filling out the survey. Remember to enter your hours. Those are your.
Yeah, that was a good.
Oh, there's a question.
Oh, okay.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
This is Rochelle. Now, are we going to be able to watch this again if we have like extra questions?
Absolutely. So the PowerPoints the slides that are sent to you, they're PDF'd so that we don't blow up your computer. However, the link to those YouTube videos are in there. So you can rewatch and rewatch and rewatch, or you can just call us if you're having trouble with something.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for asking that, Rochelle.
Yeah. Kat, that was a good point that you made, that it's when you referenced the interest survey, because some volunteers on here may already know what they want to do. It's like, I already know and I'm ready to go and I don't need the interest survey form. But if you know what you want to do, as Kat has stated, just let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way we could put every single open position on any form or
Absolutely.
include it in any interview. We do our best to try to figure out what you want to do and what your skills are, but you can help us out. So, okay.
Right.
Great. Well, anything else? Great question.
Hi, it's Kim again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Kim. No, it's good. That's what this is for.
So, couple of things. I did download the app. It doesn't find me at all in here. I'm not registered, apparently.
That's that 24 to 48 hours.
Right. That's right. 24 to 48
We
hours.
weren't kidding.
Mhm.
From today's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I was going to say my thing's been on I've been into the system for a while, so.
Yes,
but
but you're in as a prospective volunteer, not a full one yet. You got to jump through these little hoops. Then you get turned into the general volunteer and it'll show up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is I never got that survey that y'all were talking about. And so I actually I emailed, because I got an email of, hey, what should you do next? And so I did email someone and said, hey, what do I do next? And then someone did call me, and I was at work and I felt really bad. And I never did figure out who called me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't get their callback number or anything. And I'm hoping they'll call me back.
Yeah. So if you want to hang out a little minute, I can hang out with you, and
I'd appreciate
I don't have
that.
to jump off this call. So is there anyone else with a question?
Yeah, this is Rochelle again, and I have a
Yeah.
question. I think mine is the disaster response. It's for like fires and such in our area.
Yes, and by the way, we have not yet sent the survey out. It goes out after this orientation. So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
a reason that you haven't received it. Sometimes people come to the things out of order though. And so if I say you'll get it after the orientation, I always have someone say, but I got mine already. So,
Right, and I haven't checked because I know that my background for my driver's license and all of that is all done. And
oh, that's good. That's good. That's handy.
So every bit of that, I done the first one when I first got my that long ID number, and then I done the driver's license one when I connected with the lady yesterday. So that's done as well.
Wow.
So
You're progressing ahead.
That's
the motor
awesome.
vehicle records check is what Rochelle is referring to. Some of our positions that require driving, if you want to do that, we require that you let us run a motor vehicle records check that looks back 3 years at your driving history. It's for insurance purposes, and because you could end up driving some of our Red Cross emergency vehicles.
Absolutely.
So, yep, you're in a good spot, Rochelle. If you've
yeah.
got the MVR, motor vehicle records, already in the works, is handy.
That's great. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All righty. I'm going to, then we can, you are welcome to sign off. And thank you so much, Yvonne. I'm going to
Thank you, Kat.
Kim for a little minute here and see what's up in Kim's application. Now, Kim, if we have people still hanging out and you don't want to talk with a group, you just say so.
Oh, I'm okay.
And then, Kat, I guess we can consider ending the recording if.
Oh, do you see? Thank you. Is Eli with us still? He hopped off.
That's what I was trying to see if Eli is still with us.
Wonderful point.
Yeah.
And I will.
Okay.
Pull that up. Sorry, I was hopping into volunteer connection. I wonder if it does let the person who didn't start it. Yep, stop recording. Okay, there we go.
Okay, good.